Hey guys, it's Rick Brown with the Brown Home Group at Keller Williams. We are doing something very exciting this month where we are calling it BHG Meet the Team. This is going to be all about the agents, my admin staff, and really we want to dive in and get to really know who these people are. Probably going to learn something new myself. So as you can see today, we have our newest member of our team, Stephanie. Yeah.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Rick?
I'm fantastic. So this is really just going to be, we're going to talk to each other and get to know each other better. Me more getting to know you and people getting to know you as well. So I would say, we're just going to have a conversation. Obviously, to keep the thing moving, I'll ask some questions. You answer them and take as long as you need to. But we got about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. So obviously, the first question I would ask you is, where did you grow up? I mean, like, where were you born? Things like that.
So, I was actually born in Puerto Rico, but both of my parents are from the Dominican Republic. So I'm actually the first generation that was born outside of the Dominican Republic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. But I actually grew up in a lot of different places. Mind you that my family's not military, but I've lived in about 6 to 7 different countries.
Okay. So let's name them.
I lived in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic,
2,
Italy,
3,
the United States,
4,
Spain,
5.
Thailand, and England.
That's 7.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Wow. Oh, you lived in England.
For a very short time.
Okay. So we have a little bit of common. I'm from England.
Hey.
Yeah. Whereabouts?
I was near Euston Station, so right in the center of London.
Okay. And what were you there for?
I was there with a group of international students. They were Spanish students from Spain who went to England, and I was kind of their chaperone. I was their parent the whole time that they were there, while they were taking English courses with other people so that they could practice their English. I was kind of like their mother duck, and we were there for about...
Wait, back up. Did you say mother duck?
Isn't that what it's called?
Mother hen.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That one here is hilarious. Mother duck.
No, but okay. So in Spanish, it would be like in Spanish. It's cultural. That's what I'm gonna blame it on.
Okay, no worries. That's cool.
So we would say like mother. Yeah.
Now, were you? So you were born in Puerto Rico, and then what moved you around? Was it school? Was it
life? Honestly, just a very interesting. I'm gonna write a book about it one day. So it's gonna be. That's why I can't tell you too many details because it's copyright.
Got you.
I'm gonna sell it.
So I know one thing about you that I know that I was extremely impressed with is you carry a master's degree.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how that got about, and what is your master's degree in?
So I grew up, in my household, and my dad has always been a businessman. So he was always just running businesses or doing things, and I always thought that was super cool. So when I went away to college, I also decided to study business management. So I actually have my bachelor's degree in business management, but then I decided to also get my MBA, but that time I did it in Spain. Okay. So I actually, while I was living in Spain, I did my MBA in Spanish. So that was kind of difficult and interesting and fun, was taking all of these master's level courses in Spanish when I had, done all of the same courses in English in the United States. It was kind of like using both sides of my brain.
Right. Before we get into that, I see some people walking behind you. So What does your family look like? You have a couple siblings?
I have quite a few siblings.
Yep, I see one waving at me. Okay. How you doing? Was that a sister?
Yes, that's one of my sisters.
Okay.
I currently live with 2 of my sisters, as well as my parents that, here. It's very customary in Latin American families that you don't leave the home until you're married. So.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a custom. I mean, not everybody follows that custom, but
is that a
it
Dominican Republican thing, or is that a Puerto Rican thing? Because
no, I think it's a Latin American thing. I think
Latin
most
American
people
thing.
from South America or the Caribbean islands, I think it's a very normal thing in our culture for people to just stay at home. They don't really have a reason to leave.
Okay.
They're not really encouraged to do so unless, they want to for college or, they got married.
Yeah. And I know that culture, you're very close family, right? You're
Yes.
very close knitted family.
Yes, especially Dominicans. We have this thing where we have a very extended idea of what is family. So you could easily be invited to my Thanksgiving dinner after meeting me at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I could be like, hey, do you want to come to Thanksgiving this afternoon? And then everybody in my family will receive you like with open arms, lots of hugs, lots of kisses, but maybe not now with the corona.
Yeah, maybe not now. We probably won't be hugging and kissing, right? High-fiving and pounding, but that's about it.
Yeah, my grandma has started saying hello to everybody with her elbow. She's like, hello.
That's great. I love it. So going back now, you got your master's degree. And I remember when you came on the team, you were talking about you were teaching in Spain?
Yes. So before I was in real estate, I was a teacher for the last 4 years. I spent 3 years teaching English in Spain. So I worked in the public school system, and I also worked at a private English academy where I taught kids every single day. And then before that, I was an English teacher in Thailand.
Okay. So what was your first job that you ever did?
My first job that I ever did was I worked at Hollister as a model. But
Hollister, the cologne?
The clothing store.
Oh, the clothing store. Oh, I'm thinking of Halston. I'm sorry. Now I'm really aging myself. Okay. Hollister is a clothing store.
Yes, with Abercrombie and Fitch.
Okay, and you were a model? Okay, no.
I was a sales associate. It's really a sales associate, but back then the position was called a model.
So what did that look like? So somebody come in the store and you'd be wearing clothes?
Yeah, I'd be wearing all of the Hollister and Abercrombie clothing. And then I was really just a regular sales associate, walking people around and doing things like that. But I mean, they just called it a model, so you felt special.
Okay. All right, cool. So what was your first car you ever owned?
A 1992 Ford Escort. It was
Escort.
Mm-hmm.
What color?
It was bright green, and I called it the Green Bean. So
right.
The car and I were about the same age.
1992.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now we know what your age is.
Oh.
Wait, 27? Really?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then what was the last job you did before you got into real estate? Obviously, I know the answer, but go ahead.
It was teaching. I was a teacher.
And then
yes.
While growing up, do you have any kind of favorite memory that you would like to share with us?
Absolutely. So when we finally moved to Florida, it was starting out, it was just me and my dad. So he was a single father of a 5-year-old for a little bit. Okay. And during that time, he worked several jobs as like a waitress and at a waiter, and just different jobs. And one of his jobs was actually at Disney at an ice cream parlor.
Okay.
At the Dolphin Hotel. And my favorite childhood memory is I would get to go to Disney all the time because as an employee, he got free tickets. Yeah. But I would go to his ice cream shop where he worked at, and he would, like, if you put a quarter in the jukebox, all of the people would come from behind the counter and do a dance and sing a song. And my dad, I felt like he was so cool because he'd be like, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?
Your dad seems like a really neat guy.
Yeah, so for me, that was always one of my most cherished memories.
That's fantastic. So what got you into real estate?
Obviously, my dad has been quite a huge influence in my life. We have been very close for the majority of my life. And he has been in real estate for 20 years. Okay. So when I decided to come back from Spain and to live here in the United States, we were just talking about how I could best use my degree and my background in business And we thought that out of all of the different options, that real estate would probably be the best fit for my personality. I'm just a really social person, and I love, going around, seeing different things, getting to know, like the communities. And it was probably real estate is such a confusing and difficult process that my skills as a teacher could really help me guide people. Whoop, I'm back. My skills as a teacher could really help me guide people through this really crazy, process while having all of the patience that it takes.
And I'll tell you, I mean, obviously in real estate, teachers do very well. We know that with some of our agents in our office that came from being a teacher and are just lighting it on fire when it comes to real estate. So obviously that's a huge thing. So I got to ask, is there anything that you'd be willing to share with us that no one else knows? One thing, anything.
I think that a lot of people would be surprised to know that one of my first languages I ever spoke was Italian.
Oh, English?
Before English, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. You learned Spanish first, right?
Yes, but I spoke Italian first, which is crazy.
Italian and Spanish kind of similar dialect or whatever?
They are very, very similar. If you can speak Spanish, you can probably understand Italian very easily. Okay. So when I was a baby, when I was around 1-2 years old, I was living in Italy at that time. And my family would speak to me in Spanish, but I would respond to them in Italian because we were living, in Italy. So I spoke the language of where we were.
So say something to us in Italian. I don't know what, but.
Oh, it'd be like, buongiorno, io mi chiamo Stephanie. So hello, my name is Stephanie. Yes. Okay,
awesome. So getting into real estate, obviously having your dad there for you, what's been the best thing that you can think of that being a realtor has done for you? And is there anything that you might do differently?
So I think one of the best things that real estate has done for me is I've spent a lot of time away. I've been traveling. I've been to over 23 different countries and haven't really spent that much time here in Orlando collectively, or very consecutively would be the correct way to say it. So being in real estate has really allowed me to get to know where I live and where I'm from in my hometown. Sure. And now I have things to say to people, and people are like, oh, where's a good spot for this? Now I know. I've been around so many places, and what's a good neighborhood to live in? Oh, I can tell you a lot of good neighborhoods in Orlando. Let me tell you about the different ones that I know.
Yeah, and it really does help you get a little bit more familiar with what's around you, and obviously the familiarity of it.
So because real estate is a relationship business, it's really forced me to reconnect with so many people, that I know here, friends, family. And I just really like that real estate is a very social job. It's very relationship oriented. Right. And if you don't have positive relationships with people, then you don't have business.
Is there anything you'd do differently if you got back into it again? Like if you had to start over?
I would save more money beforehand. There's a lot of upfront costs that are associated. So I didn't expect that. That was something that really caught me off guard. And a lot of my savings went towards those upfront costs.
Did you find it difficult to take the test? Probably not, being a teacher, right? You're a pretty good test taker.
Oh, no. For me, it was first time, pass. I mean, also, I have this mindset that it's do or die, and I'm going to do. So I don't give myself the option not to pass.
So if someone's watching right now thinking about getting into real estate, what would you say to them?
Save money.
Save money?
Make sure that you have, real estate, when you first start out, it can be hard. It can be emotionally taxing on you and financially taxing on you. So if you can take one of those two things off of, off your back so that you don't have to think about it as much, I would say try to save up, make sure that you have, a few months. Don't just quit your job, and put all your eggs in one basket, make sure that you have something to hold on to, because as we always say, you're always 30 to 60 days away from your next paycheck. You don't see the results right away. This is a very delayed gratification type of job. Until it's closing day and you're at the table signing, you don't really know if you're going to get that paycheck.
Yeah. What do you feel about being a single agent versus being on a team? You started as a single agent for a period of time, short period, and now you're on a team. What are the benefits, or do you see any negatives, or what does that look like? You can tell me. I'm just going to take it. Go ahead, tell me.
No. I think that being on the team is great. I mean, if you're a person who struggles with accountability, then definitely being on a team is going to be hard for you, because you're accountable to the T at all times from everyone, and you're always kind of like in this competitive nature just a little bit. We're very much a supportive group where everybody's looking out for each other and willing to help. But definitely I like the sense of competition just a bit. Like, there's somebody, that I work very closely with, that we have the same tools. And it's like, okay, well, I need to push myself just a little bit harder because, Bryce and Blaine, they're just going at it so much that I need to also pull my weight on the team.
Right. Sure.
But I love all of the opportunities that being on a team gives me, like the mentorship, the access to different resources, like our MAPS coaching that we have. There's just so many things that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do, especially starting out, and especially with financial situations and just being a single agent. Being on the team has really alleviated some of that pressure from me and allowed me to focus more on building relationships and like doing the job rather than having the job, control me.
So the last question, and you've done great today. So I know you were kind of probably nervous about this, but again, this was supposed to be very laid back. I think it has been. How are you been handling the COVID-19?
I think I've been really fortunate in the sense that I live in a home where we don't have a lot of turmoil and we get along quite well and we all have our own space. But I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm a social butterfly. So
okay, what's the one thing you can't wait to do when you can get out?
Eat out.
Eat out?
Yes, I love.
The restaurants are going to go nuts, aren't they? I mean, as soon as the restaurant's open, how are they going to control that? Because everybody says the same thing. I was just with another agent earlier this afternoon, and he said to me, he's like, "Hey, look, we need to go have lunch." And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to take you to lunch, and pick your brain kind of thing, right?" And I'm like,
yeah.
I guess we're not going to lunch because there's no place to go to lunch.
There's no place I don't know. I mean, I think about like there must be sanitation places, like sanitation stations, like everywhere in the restaurant. They'll probably sit us like one every 2 tables or something like that.
I saw something on the news where I guess in some countries they've got these thermometers where you put them on your forehead, and as people walk in, they're going ding, 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 ding. No temperature, you're good.
Oh,
and
wow.
People are coming in based on if they're well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if that would be the case, if something like that would possibly, because obviously if you're not carrying a temperature, you should be okay being around other people. But it means you're not carrying the virus.
I suppose so. So is that a new job opportunity for people to be creative? Temperature taker? Professional temperature taker?
Instead of you're a hostess, you're the thermometer checker.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. We might create a position there. Well, Stephanie, I can't thank you enough for taking the risk and joining our team. You have been just a bright light on our team. You always come in with a positive attitude. You've always added a tremendous amount of value to other agents. Obviously, yes, we are somewhat competitive in nature. And I know with this, you've had a little bit of a quarantine setback, but even then you've always kept a positive mindset, and staying positive, I think in this day and age right now is more important. I always say, I look at the glass half full. I never look at it half empty.
Right.
I believe that this too shall pass. We may go back to doing things somewhat normal, but I don't think we'll ever be the same now. I think there'll
definitely
be, the hugging and kissing, friend is probably gone. And I'm a huge hugger. I love that.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle.
That's actually something that surprised me about you. When we first met, I always thought you were kind of like, oh, he's so tough, and You seem like this really like serious man. And then next thing I know, you're this super caring, super huggy, just fatherly figure. And I was like, wow, this was just really, really unexpected for me, just how caring you really were or are.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And really, I mean, that's probably been my biggest struggle is, I mean, I never meet a stranger. So having those conversations, and I know somebody else said this, but I'm going to steal it. We're not social distancing, we're physically distancing.
Yes.
Because we have to be social in our business. So again, I can't thank you enough for being on the team, and I'm excited to.
Thank you guys for having me.
And thank you again. And next week will be Blaine Weicker, who's going to be in the hot seat. And we'll find out more about Blaine and his whole life story. So, Stephanie, again, love you. Hope you stay well, safe, and strong in this situation.
Same.
We'll talk soon.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.